My sister's fake panic attacks destroyed my life, so I made sure her real one destroyed hers. My older sister Lauren has been milking a car accident from 10 years ago since the day it happened. She was 16, got rear-ended at a red light, walked away with whiplash and a $3,000 insurance check. But if she told you the story, she'd say she barely survived a near-death experience that left her with crippling PTSD. And she would weaponize that trauma like a loaded gun. At first she'd just be annoying but tolerable about it, like when she stole my college fund to go on a shopping spree in Miami. When Dad found the credit card statements, she collapsed. Giselle triggered me by talking about driving to college. I had a flashback episode and didn't know what I was doing. I lost my scholarship opportunity. At 22, Lauren got caught embezzling from her receptionist job at the medical clinic. Her defense was that I'd been deliberately triggering her PTSD by playing car racing video games, causing dissociative episodes where she wasn't in control of her actions. The clinic dropped charges to avoid bad publicity. Poor traumatized girl, insensitive younger sister. I got fired from my job there too. When Lauren totaled Mom's car driving drunk, she sobbed to the police that I'd forced her to drink because I kept making car crash jokes. That sent her into a trauma spiral. The officer's own daughter had PTSD, so he let her off with a warning. I got stuck with increased insurance rates as a listed driver. Last year, Lauren got caught dealing pills she'd stolen from the clinic's pharmacy. She told investigators I was the real dealer who used her trauma to manipulate her into being a mule, knowing her mental fragility made her easy prey. The detective bought it completely. Each performance followed the same pattern: Lauren's hyperventilating, Lauren's tears, Lauren's medical documentation from that one minor accident. She made a mockery of people with real PTSD. But I never retaliated because trauma is trauma until she crossed the line. Lauren discovered she could make serious money through insurance fraud, faking panic attacks at businesses and threatening lawsuits. She hit 3 stores in 1 month, each time claiming their negligence triggered severe PTSD episodes. She decided to go big and targeted a federal building, collapsing in the lobby, screaming about fluorescent lights triggering flashbacks. But security footage showed her practicing the performance in her car. When investigators came knocking, Lauren's response was immediate. My sister coached me through this whole thing. She said I was basing my trauma, that I could make us rich. Check her laptop. She researched all these places. She showed them texts taken out of context, twisted my psychology homework into fraud planning. No witnesses to our actual conversations. Lauren had deleted everything incriminating on her end, and somehow my browser history looked suspicious. The investigators spotted a vulnerable trauma survivor with a predatory younger sister. I was arrested on federal charges: conspiracy to commit fraud, extortion, racketeering. 6 months in federal detention gave me time to study Lauren properly. Not emotionally, but analytically. Her patterns, her greed, her desperate need for sympathy and attention. I realized Lauren's weakness wasn't consequences. It was losing her victim status. That's when I reached out to my friend from college, Clark, who worked as a forensic accountant. Clark had lost his brother to a drunk driver and spent years in therapy for real PTSD. He'd watched people like Lauren make his condition look like a performance. When I explained my plan, he jumped at the chance. Let's expose this parasite, he said. We mapped out everything. How he'd infiltrate her support group. How he'd become the traumatized boyfriend of her dreams. How he'd document her fraud properly. I wasn't angry anymore. I was methodical. Clark played it flawlessly. He showed up at her PTSD support group with a practiced 1,000-yard stare. Shared a fake story about losing his family in a crash. Lauren latched onto him immediately. Within weeks, she was bragging to him about her schemes. How she turned one little fender bender into a gold mine. Clark suggested they could work together. Maybe hit a casino next. Bigger payout. But Clark had a different plan entirely. He convinced Lauren to let him handle the financial side, setting up accounts for their partnership. She gave him access to everything. Her fraudulent medical claims, forged doctor's notes, even the original police report showing how minor her actual accident was. Clark compiled it all into a comprehensive forensic report. The night before their casino con, Lauren got drunk and signed papers she thought were insurance forms. They were actually confessions, meticulously prepared by Clark, admitting to every single fraud, including framing me. The next day, Lauren put on her best performance at the casino, convulsing on the floor, screaming about trauma. But Clark had already submitted everything to federal prosecutors that morning. As security surrounded her, federal agents walked in with warrants. Clark leaned down and said simply, Giselle wanted you to know that real PTSD doesn't come with an off switch. Lauren's signed confessions got me released immediately. But even now, 8 months later, she keeps trying. She sends letters claiming Clark manipulated her, that I orchestrated psychological warfare. She tried starting a support group for victims of entrapment, but nobody joined. The girl who performed trauma for profit can't even get sympathy from her old support group. They kicked her out for violating the sacred trust of survivors. Now she actually needs therapy, but no therapist will take her case.